game plan for winning in life, when I talk about networking my way to prosperity, I must learn that there comes a point in my life where the emotional tie I have with something might need to be severed so I can be strategic.
Or maybe you don't even need to cut it off. Let me give you another strategy in networking. There are different networks for different purposes.
Okay.
Right?
Different networks for different
Different networks for different purposes. There's the network for spiritual growth. There are people I go to. All we talk about is just Jesus, our love for God. I don't go to them for strategic direction on, working with US government. That network doesn't hold that capacity.
No.
So as to be a whole human being, we do need emotional connection to people that care about us and we care about. So there are some community, so different network for different things. That's what I practice. And wisdom calls for us not mixing, not going to, it's like going to a barber instead of going to groceries. If you want banana, you go to a grocery store. If you want to cut your hair, you go to, right? That's how network is as well. Is that we need to, for us to be fulfilled, right? I have girlfriends that the only thing we talk about is maybe skincare. Because in my 360 approach to life, I've done a mapping. Maybe that's another thing I'll talk about maybe later, is this 360 approach to life of mapping your priorities, the person you are, the things you care about, family, work, your money, your this, your that, right? The key as a leader is, how am I being strategic in all of those things, right? So a network for fun, let's go out, let's have fun, is not the same thing as business. It's not the same thing as community service, right? So that's another thing that we should walk into this conversation, is that we may be going to the wrong people for the wrong things. We may be the people that should love us, that we can cry on their shoulders, that they are just there for us because they really do care about us. They may not have the insight and capacity to support our business. And that's okay. I think where we make a mistake is help expecting them, those who do not have the capacity. They love us anyway. Putting too much pressure, it's what they say, you're backing up. It's like you're trying to squeeze orange that they don't have it in them. But what they do have, we need to be thankful for. Like if you have people checking up on you and saying, Pastor Cornelius, have you had breakfast today? Pastor Cornelius, can I help you sweep your, right? Pastor Cornelius, can I grab you lunch today? There's serious value in those types of relationships. My guidance and coaching is, you don't need to try and convert that into business alliances. No. Right? It's that they are meeting an emotional need that is valid. Right? I do, to function fully as a human, I do need people to care about me and check on me and say happy birthday. Right? Like, Tony, how are you doing today? I saw you on Instagram. How are you? If that's all they're doing, I appreciate it. Right? So that's something we need to appreciate, what they're bringing to the table and what it means in our life, and not to reduce that, but to celebrate. Like if you're throwing a party, if your kids are having babies, you do need real support that will come in and bring some diapers. You see my point? They don't have to be business all the time, but that is a network. A network is support network for life. That's different from business. Okay, I'm seeing, react to that.
Well, you're saying some great things. And once again, if our community that has reared and raised us, that emotional tie, if we have built everything within that community, then that mindset alone can be a hindrance moving forward. Because I'm allowing, to say, 1, 2, 3 relationships to be my end all, and through all and for all, when possibly those relationships don't have the capacity to support the vision, to support my ambitions, to support the dreams, to support the purpose that God puts in me. And then you said something earlier, I need to learn what to and what not to convert. If I'm not reneging on this relationship, but now that I'm in business, there's a different dynamic, and there's a different even emotional and economic support that comes from these other relationships. I will use this as an example, and it's a good example, but the prodigal son, it's in the negative sense. He took what he had and wasted it in relationships. Period. Point blank thing. He took what he had and wasted it in relationships. I will say that again for somebody. He took what he had and wasted it in relationships and alliances that did not appreciate his value.
So and would never get into his next level.
Right. So his networking for success to prosperity literally faltered because he wasted his worth in relationships that did not appreciate.
So he networked his way to failure.
Yeah. So failure. Yeah, we can network our way to failure.
Jeez.
But listen, coach, and listen, once again, people who are coming in, you do this on an international scale with the continent and for the continent of Africa. Like you do this for the whole continent of Africa, not just one country, but for the whole continent. And when you have when your perception of something that looks like failure, but it's not failure, and your networking has been away from the resource that you provide, it's a mindset now. It's a mindset.
Pastor.
It's a mind. See, people don't know. Some of my church members have joined. You do business for the world and with the world. You do business for the whole continent of Africa. We were taught in the Western world nothing was in Africa. They paint this picture of Africa as a desolate, derelict place, not knowing that Africa is the richest continent in the world. So my networking has never been toward Africa. Never. And the only people that we celebrated from the continent was the Akeem Olajuwons, the athletes. We never put a mental value on this relationship. So here now our paths cross, and now you're talking about network my way to prosperity. And if you go back and let me make this point, if you go back and look in this in history, every European nation literally got rich where? In Africa. Right? Literally. For the most part. Without every European nation that I've studied from the Western culture, their wealth, their riches, and their power came as a result of networking their way to Africa. Apartheid, Africa, right? Going back to the 400s when they burned the libraries in Egypt and all of those places. So they understood that their pathway to prosperity was networking with the continent of Africa and being strategic and this is, I hate to use it in these terms, but doing everything in their way possible and imaginable to paint a picture that was incorrect when they themselves have made fortunes, billions, trillions of dollars off the continent of Africa because they understood networking.
Yeah. This is why it's so important for us to disrupt the stories that we've been told. Like right now, we have to, like on Monday, as example, I was teaching a class on doing business in Africa in partnership. Like my host was the International Trade Center, Illinois International Trade Center, right. SBDC, WBDC. So I spent about an hour like teaching, like PowerPoint, asking questions, sharing business strategies. So the work is going on, but what's happening is most of the time in those circles, right? Most people that should be benefiting, they've not networked their way into those circles.
Me.
Right? Like every time, even when the conversation about Africa is being discussed, Pastor, you'll be amazed the people that are showing up.
No, I probably understand, you know. I
Uh-huh.
get it. I would get it. I get it. Yeah.
You get it. I don't have to
Yeah.
say everything, right?
Right.
And that's
You
why when
can't
I
say
host
that.
my summits, I create my own interest. It's like my own platform. I call it like Africa Agenda must be center stage. And in a way, it's also people of descendants of, like it's your birthright first. But that's another topic entirely. It's so deep.
Yeah.
But networking your way to prosperity is, where is the source of your prosperity connected to? When we talk
Where's
about
the
Joseph
source?
as an example, okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
God knew, and this is where we have to stay. It could be geographic, it could be relational. God's wealth for Joseph was connected deeply to Egypt,
Geographically.
geographic, and even his people, their wealth was connected to Egypt. First in sustaining them, and then even years later, when Moses came, they extracted wealth from Egypt. Like they went to their neighbors, collect,
And left.
right? And
And left.
even though the wealth they collected, later they used it to build an idol, but they left with gold,
But that was
right?
networking. That was networking. That was networking.
Yes. So sometimes I think this is where the power of prayer comes in, is that the prosperity, what will prosper you or myself, could be geographic. So as immigrants, for example, if you don't leave your home country, could you be participating if God's wealth, and this is where God comes in, right? Because I don't know what his plans are for you, but you need to find yourself. You may need to move yourself to get closer to a specific location, because even God's plan for the people of Israel was geographic. The promised land was a specific place, a specific location. He could have blessed them anywhere else, but the gift he had for them was geographic. That's why I say, if God has something for you in California and you sit in Chicago, you won't collect it until you get to California.
There's networking.
Yes, if God
It's a
tells
destined
you, I
place.
have something incredible for you at another company, and you are deciding that where you are today is good enough for you, you've settled. So sometimes your prosperity may be connected even to an individual,
It
a
always is.
person,
It always is. It
pastor,
always
a
is.
person.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is where you have to honor people. Your prosperity may be absolutely tied to one person, one. And that person, if you don't honor that person, if you don't connect with that person, if you don't show up, and if you don't maintain that relationship, are you really going to extract what God has? Is that person going to offer you what God has in or her to deliver?
Let me say this. It's interesting. You talked about geography and like physically geography, that your next could not be where you are now. And you're
I
going to
don't know.
literally, no, right. You literally sometimes have to literally physically move to the next place
Yes.
to reap the promises that God has ordained for your life.
Let me give a quick example.
Go ahead.
I was fine living in Arkansas.
Working for Walmart.
Okay? Working for Walmart. My husband accepted a job here in Illinois. I moved with him. My job is remote. Fast forward to today. I've been appointed by the U.S. Secretary of Commerce onto the Export Council of Illinois, not Arkansas. When I was in Arkansas, I worked with them. I know them. But the appointment, the official appointment by the U.S. government is tied to the state of Illinois and the economy of Illinois, not Arkansas.
Geography.
Move. Monday was also the same. The moves and certain relationships and certain things I'm doing in Illinois is tied to Chicago, Illinois here. If I didn't move here, would I be doing things in Chicago? I don't know. I'll still be in Arkansas. I remember when I wanted to, 2018, I was hosting an event. A journalist in Africa was interviewing me, and the question was, Toyi, why are you asking us to come to a city we've never heard of for your events? A journalist was like, you're asking us to come to Bentonville, Arkansas. Oh, and I had to explain it's the headquarters of this. But the next event I'm hosting, and I'm saying, come to Chicago. Nobody's asking me that question anymore.
Geography.
No,
let me back up. Connecting to a person. It doesn't take everybody. It takes the right somebody. Let me use a biblical analogy, and then I will shift to my other points. God doesn't need you to be blessed by everybody, just the right somebody.
Yeah.
Can open up the opportunities and avenues of prosperity that you couldn't even think of. Biblical example, the thief was literally on the cross. But he had enough sense, as he had enough sin to die. But he had enough sense to honor the relationship that with Jesus in that moment. And his prosperity changed.
Oh, this is a lesson. This is a lesson right there. Be careful. Just because you and people are doing the same thing doesn't mean you should discount them. Joseph in the jail. You were all in jail, but he also acknowledged the cupbearer. The thief and Jesus are on the cross. Not everybody doing what you're doing should you be discounting. Just because you're on the cross together, you are a thief, doesn't mean you think the other person is a thief.
Right. But
Joseph in the jail. Sorry?
Right. But the fact that, once again, you're there, you said that person can be your network to prosperity.
Yeah. Discernment.
Even in a dying situation.
Yeah, even in the jail, even in that job, even in that dead-end job, whatever it is.
That's the network.
You don't know their connection to the king.
That's the connection.
You don't know their situation. Jesus had connection to the king, to God himself, and it was the gate. He said it's the way, the truth, and the life. If the way to your next level, your prosperity, your victory is standing in front of you, can you recognize it? The cupbearer was the connection to the king for Joseph. But if Joseph didn't honor them, treat them well, you think they would? And I'm seeing that play out every single day. Somebody comes into your church, you don't honor them. They may not look good, they may not be dressed well, but we can never judge who God will use to bless us. They may not look the way you think they would look. That's the lesson. That the person that would even connect you to prosperity, okay, to your destiny, may not come the way you think they should come. They might be sitting on the same chair with you in the church, but they might be the second cousin of the mayor.
Or of towing.
You see my point? But this is where it takes discernment. Discernment. That's why the children of God should be reaping this benefit more, because we carry the Spirit of God. And if we listen, the Holy Spirit will tell you, no, that person, honor that person, say hello. In fact, that's why the Bible talks about doing good. Don't be weary in doing good. Bring a water. You know, a prophet is coming. Give them water. Give them drink. And God even says, whatever you do to the least of my brethren, that's what you do unto me. Like the work and service you've been doing in your community, God honors that. God honors that. So even in the jailhouse, Joseph was caring for the least. He was caring for the least. People that have been forgotten, thrown away in prison, but he was serving them food. Nurturing them, caring for them. And in that moment, God saw his heart. Right? That if you're found faithful in little, in the jailhouse, honoring your skills, your gifting that God has given you, God is watching where you are, where nobody's watching. God is watching. And he went from there. Next thing, change his clothes, shave his beard. He landed in palace. The same thing with David. Networking your way to prosperity. David had to fight a Goliath. And fighting some things that you're not fighting today. Okay, you're not confronting, you're not taking on that project in the office. You're not taking on that opportunity. Your pastor is calling you to do certain things. In fact, people who would promote you need to see you in action. People who would take you to your next level, who would prosper you, need to see your capacity. You need to demonstrate your capacity. You need to win, right? Because God will say, you see my son, David, he was practicing with, lions and bears. And when it was time, publicly, he destroyed Goliath. And guess what? People started singing for him. Next thing, connecting him to the palace. Saul. Saul's daughter, wealth. So his battle, what he fought, the skills he had to fight and to conquer, connected him immediately to prosperity.
The skills he had. I had to write that down.
Yes, the skills, what you do, Pastor, the skills and capacity you have, what you do, the education you have, the radio show, the people that will take you to the next level, they are watching you. They are watching you, they are appreciating, and God will all of a sudden whisper to them, call on him. He's been doing this. He can help us with that. But it's like, get busy, guys. Get busy. Show people something. Show people who you are. Most of the time, we want outcomes. But people who are carrying this, the crown, people that want to crown you with glory, they want to be sure that they are crowning the right person.
So in my networking, it's a person that's connected to my net worth.
Location, person.
Mm-hmm. That could be geographically. It has many factors, but also being committed. Watch this. Being committed to cultivate that relationship will predict prosperity.
Will open the door.
Mm-hmm. Or famine.
It's the key.
Or
it's
famine.
The key.
Or famine.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. Of famine. Being able to predict and cultivate that relationship with that person. It famine or prosperity is tied in honor. Not only do you commit to that, how are you celebrating that relationship? I have several relationships in my life that are still dear. From previous season, I don't celebrate them anymore because they are not going or not in my view of success.
Pastor, another question is though, are they celebrating you? Because this goes both ways. I have opportunities that I can offer, but I will hold back. Okay? The key here is in reverse. People that also have opportunities for us, you don't want them to hold back. So it's both ways. Pastor, you also have to understand that you also carry value, right? Part of networking is you're bringing value to the table, and your platform is valuable to other people that need what you have. What do they have to do that they are not doing to get into your proximity so that you too can open your platform for them? It's both. So certain networking is us going up. The other side of it is also grooming the next person. But the key is you have to be selective who you're carrying along. Do they honor you as well? Yeah? Because somebody like you, Pastor, you're a giver. You're so used to giving. We will give. But the key is you're not going to open the door to the best of you until that person honors you. You may like them, you may be greeting them, you may shake them, you may even hug them. They are your church members. But I'm telling you, you're not going to invite them to your platform unless they give you the honor you deserve.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the key, though, to networking.
And this is the mistake. The mistake many people make in your church. They are seeing you as average, but they don't know where you're going to. It's actually easier. It's actually easier to connect with people when they are nobody than when they are somebody. But everybody is looking at Pastor Cornelius. Pastor Cornelius is like nice, everywhere, serving, and they're like, oh, is it not Pastor Cornelius? Right? That's the mistake most people make. They discount diamond in the rough. They throw it away. They don't invest in it. They don't serve it. They don't nurture it because they think you're going to stay where you are. That's right. Not true. That's not true.
And even Jesus had problems with people that didn't honor his value.
You can't give the best of you to people that don't honor you. You can't. Like, we have to understand that. I'm not going to give the best of me to people that discount me. Why? Why? Pastor, you think if you did not honor me or celebrate me, we'll be here? Pastor. Okay. I think people don't like the truth. I'll keep quiet now. Pastor, let me, I speak it clearly. Honor begets honor. Honor begets honor. Honor will give room for more honor.
Like, listen, I got to give this practical illustration while I'm in the moment. You know, I told you I'm in somebody else's office because of relationship. I'm in somebody's personal place where they think, they plan, they celebrate because of honor. It's only fair that I reciprocate where I am geographically right now in this moment to the person who allowed me in their space because a relationship has been cultivated. This never would have happened had not this relationship been cultivated. And there's other opportunities to execute on as it relates to service because of just this one relationship. So you don't need everybody. You just need that right one who gives you access to opportunity. And when you find out who that person is that gives you access to opportunity, that's the relationship that will convert. That's the relationship that will celebrate. That's the relationship that you can commit to. And that's the relationship that you need to stay connected to. Because out of that one relationship with that one person, the value is increased. The honor is there. It's inbred. It's interwoven. And the idea is the place of exchange